Uh, all right. So there we go. We got through our technical problems. We're going to win. We're going to continue to win. Win, win, win. Uh, so we got one more thing on the docket. Looking forward to the 49ers. The 49ers, well, they're pretty hard to beat. How are we going to look forward to the 49ers? How might we beat the 49ers, in fact? Well, going to match quarters. Highly recommend on Substack. Highly recommend on Substack match quarters. Match quarters. I would say go to subscribe to match quarters. You get incredible football knowledge. It is on Substack. I am an investor in Substack, but still, nonetheless. And we have a headline here: How the Browns solved the 49ers offense. Well, this is interesting for us for two reasons. First, we got the 49ers to play in week one. Second, our defense is almost a carbon copy of the Cleveland Browns. So, how might we beat them? It says here the Browns utilized a combination of cover one and a well timed 5-man pressures, which would be new for us, to lay the groundwork for the Chiefs' game plan in the Super Bowl against the 49ers. All right, let's see. So the defensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns is Jim Schwartz. The last time Jim Schwartz called the defense before the season with the Eagles in 2020 when they were 4-11-1. So the Browns were looking for a change, move on from Joe Woods, and he hired old Jim Schwartz. Fast forward to the conclusion of this season, the Browns sit second overall in defensive DVOA, second in pass DVOA, fourth in run DVOA. Defense played fast and aggressive, just like us. So now here's a quote right here that I think Jet fans should pay attention to. Schwartz said this: It's hard to win in coverage. If you can rush with four, it allows your blitz game to be so much more effective because you're blitzing on your terms. That's what we do. Cleveland ran cover three in the preseason. That's what we do. Then played cover one in the NFL once the season began. That's kind of what we do. End quarters. When Schwartz arrived in Cleveland, the secondary was already talented. So are we, but it needed to be more consistent. Browns beefed up their personnel with Myles Garrett to add to him. Added these people. Schwartz's defensive philosophy stems from a 4-down, middle of the field close base. That's where we are. Last season, the Browns ran middle of the field close coverages on 72.4% of their snaps, and only the Cowboys were above the 70% mark in usage. Even in cover three, Cleveland led the NFL at 33.4%. So here's the coverages. You can see cover one, cover three, cover two, quarters. So we're a little different in that we use more quarters, let's say. Now, let's get down to here. Running cover. So hopefully you can see me and hear me. I think we had another outage, but we're getting through it. Let me know in the chat. Audio check, audio check. Let's go down to here. Audio check. So this is nickel one lurk. Yes. Okay. Nickel one, lurk. So we're in nickel. So we're going to use our nickel all the time. So we're in cover one. Here's our guy, middle of the field closed. Oh, and one thing I wanted to explain too. So some people may not know how the field works when we're talking about this sort of thing. Middle third of the field is here. So when the middle of the field is closed, that means we got a safety right here. When it's open, we got a safety over here and a safety over here. This is the hole or the box, flat curl. This is the flat where receivers will run a curl, so it's called a flat curl. This is the hole or box, as it's referred to. Deep third, middle of the field, third. So when we're using this, when we say middle of the field closed, that means we got a single safety in the middle of the field. When middle of the field is open, we're saying we got a safety on each side of the hash here, and the middle of the field is then open. Okay, general information. So here you see the middle of the field becomes closed. We have a rat or a spy here with the linebacker. This is what they're talking about. Nickel one lurk. Browns have several ways to run cover one. What looks to be a simple coverage can be amplified with the use of spies or rats. These players are allowed to work off the vision of the quarterback and can be placed in the second or third level of the defense. The toolbox allows defenses to utilize a four-man rush with post and low hole support. This is probably what we're going to do against the 49ers right here. The use of cover one kept the windows tight in coverage, forcing quarterbacks to hold the ball longer. Slight hesitation amplified the rush that was already tremendous. With an elite D line, we have, and a secondary that excelled in man coverage, we have also. The high cover one usage simplified the role of the front six and allowed it to play fast against the 49ers. The defense only accumulated one sack, but the passing game was primarily rendered useless all game. Here's an example of what that means. Here we have the Browns against the 49ers over here. Um, so you can see ball on the 39, second and 8, first quarter. They're 49ers are up 7-0. Right. So what we got here is middle of the field closed. This is the spy, four down linemen. Mhm. 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 Happen here is you can see the vision of the quarterback. So he's working off the vision. So this is our spy right here. And he is just looking at what Purdy is looking at. Purdy turns his head here. He's looking for Ayuk as the primary receiver on this route. But he can't get him because he sees this wall defender here. Wall means you got to throw it over my head. But he can't throw it over his head because you got this guy here, right? So what we're seeing is something that we can run to prevent this first option. So Ayuk is the first option here, and you can see the pass rush is doing its job. So Purdy couldn't get that first option. Now he's really in trouble. Why? Because of the pass rush. Now what? Well, he look at all the guys. They're covered, covered. This guy's double covered, covered. Where's he going to go with the ball? And the pass rush is closing in. This is what we want to do, right? Maybe he could get it to McCaffrey out here, but he's not going to get much of a gainer. So in this case, he escapes. This guy misses a tackle. And this is all 22 footage, by the way. And Purdy scrambles and is able to make some yardage out of it. But overall, that's pretty good. You'd like to have sacked him there. But that's pretty good. And I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to try to take away some of those primary options, let our defense get home. I think that's going to be kind of what we do. There's other versions. They call it nickel one cross. They're versions. Here's another interesting play. Here's an interesting play. Let's just take a look at one more, then we'll do question and answer. All right, so that's the situation. Now, here we are in the low red zone. Got our 4 down linemen. And we're going to watch. What's interesting about this clip is the communication between this linebacker and this cornerback. So when you have a guy like, here's Ayuk off the line, and for the first 5 yards, the coverage responsibility is this linebacker, knowing he's got cornerback help behind him. And so this is probably a choice route by Ayuk. He could go out, he could go up, he could go in, depending on this coverage. If he goes out, then or up, I guess, this linebacker is going to hand him off to the cornerback, which is what happens. Now, here you see what he tries to do. He tries to get a shove in for good measure. Okay, that's good football. But the problem is once he hands off this receiver to the cornerback, he now has a new responsibility named Christian McCaffrey right here. And so he went for this shove. Okay, that's good. He's helping out his buddy by getting the receiver off his track. But it cost him a step, and now McCaffrey has a step on him. But keep in mind, this safety is also helping. And so that shove probably cost him this reception, but he's still in good position to make a tackle, and the safety comes to help. Safety hits him, and there you go, rally to the ball. So I think that's a good example of how modern day coverages work, where you always hear the defensive backs talking about communication and stuff like that. What does that really mean? Well, there's an example right there.
Non-pertinent. How do you log that non-pertinent?
No drug talk?
They use codes to hide their patron phone numbers. And when someone does use a phone, they don't use names. And if someone does use a name, he's reminded not to. All of that is valuable evidence.
Of what?
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy?
We're building something here, Detective. We're building it from scratch. All the pieces matter.